Initially, I was terrified. I didn't even know what spina bifida was. And I could tell during the ultrasound that something was wrong. I could read. I was looking at the technician's face, and she was zooming in on the ventricles in the brain. She was zooming on the spine, and I knew something was wrong. And I asked her if something was wrong, and she just refused. She just shook her head and said the doctor will be able to talk to you. But yeah, I was terrified when they said it could either be a tumor on the baby's spine or spina bifida. And like I said, I had no indicator, no clue whatsoever. As soon as I left the doctor's office, I ran home and jumped on the internet and looked up spina bifida and read all about it. And it was 6 days. It was 6 days before my daughter was delivered that we found out. It wasn't even a week. We didn't even have a week to prepare. So I called my husband, and he came home right away. And then the two of us went in together, and they told us, they were explaining to us what it was about. But they didn't give us all the information. They didn't give us all the details. They just kind of gave it to us little by little, which was a good thing. Because that early on, I think I would have been quite overwhelmed. And me being that far along in the pregnancy, it wouldn't have been a good thing.
Okay. Do you have any advice for anybody whose child is being diagnosed with spina bifida? Do you have any advice for them? Where's it going?
Just educate yourself. Find out everything that you possibly can. Because education is power, and the more you know, you'll feel empowered. You won't feel helpless or hopeless. And if it comes out where you find out a little late in the game, like I did, friends, try to network with people, other people that have children with spina bifida, because they're your saving grace. To talk to other people who have experienced it, they'll teach you so much quicker than sitting down and reading a book. They'll tell you firsthand, some of the things that are coming up for you. And all kids are different. All kids with spina bifida they all have their own individual set of needs, but there are some things that are the same. And so yeah, I highly recommend networking.
Awesome. Anything else you want to share?
I wouldn't trade her for anything in the world. I am very, very blessed to have my daughter. And if during the pregnancy, had the doctor had said, you're carrying a child with spina bifida, earlier on, if he would have, brought up the option of terminating, I wouldn't have done it. Because I believe in the power of prayer, and believe you me, I said my fair share of prayers and then some. Not only for my child, but other children as well with spina bifida. And I've seen some awesome, wonderful things happen with my child. And so yeah, say your prayers and reach out to other people to say prayers for you, because I've seen miracles. Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. That's awesome. Okay, so how did you feel when you found out that you were carrying a child with spina bifida?
Okay, well, here's what happened. I was, the blood test came back high, slightly elevated, the alpha theta protein, so they called me in for an ultrasound. And so the technician saw something, and she ran out of the room practically screaming. And so I'm laying there by myself, and I remember thinking, the first thought that came to my head was, wow, our Lord has trusted me with one of his special babies. In spite of everything I've ever done to him, he still trusted me with one of his special babies. I felt very honored. And that was the first thing I felt. And it was. And then the first doctor I talked to, they mentioned abortion right away, The first doctor said, she could have a head this big and then take 2 breasts and die. I said, well, then so be it. I'll hold it for those 2 breasts, And then they sent us for another ultrasound, and the doctor got in my face, this far away from my face, and said, you're going to have a hard life. Your baby's going to have a hard life. They really wanted me to have an abortion. And I said, what do you care? I'm never going to see you after today. What do you care? And the genetic counselor was pushing the abortion thing, and my husband had to yell at her to shut her up. And so it was really, I'm glad I was strong in my faith, because if I wasn't, I would have been swayed, And I never regretted it. I've had conversations with people I never would have had. I've met people I never would have met because of her. It's been a blessing. We've grown as individuals. We've grown as a family. And it's been a true blessing. Challenging, of course, but that's what life is sometimes, and it makes you stronger. And I don't like the hospital stays. I don't like the worries. Sometimes I cry, sure. I'm human, But I mean, overall, it's been a tremendous blessing. It's brought us closer to God. It's brought us closer to each other. Sure, there's stress, but I mean, overall it's been a blessing. I never would have met a lot of the people, and you could really tell when I was with a handicapped kid. You could tell who's phony and who's not. So she's my little human barometer, So I wouldn't trade her for anything. So that's any advice I have would be just trust in God, love your baby. God'll help you. Educate yourself, network, all that stuff, but trust. It's gonna be fine. Love your kid. They're great. They're fun. So that's it. I press a little button now.
Thank you.